Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? So, everyone, today is the last live demo. So, if you are registered for the course, then only you'll get the link from tomorrow. Okay. So, if you are interested, if you want to continue, you can register. As just I'm reminding you, today is the last live demo. Okay. So, yesterday already I discussed about the basics of Python. Just I mentioned what are the features we are going to have in Python. So, now in today's session, let me start with the actual. Anybody installed this Jupyter ideally? Anybody newly installed ideally? So, if you want to, okay, yeah, if you are facing any issues, do let me know, especially installing ideally. If we don't have any issues, then I'll proceed with some programming today, and we'll go with some hands-on. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. So yesterday, just already I given all the features. What are the features of the Python and why Python is important? I given the overview of all the important features. In today's session, we'll talk about first keywords in Python. So keywords are basically very important for any programming language. If you want to learn any programming language, we'll start with the keywords only. Okay. Like how we have alphabets in our regional languages. Okay. Like if you want to learn English, you will start with alphabets, right? Similarly, keywords are also very important to learn any programming language, especially like Python. So keyword, first of all, what do you mean by keyword? So what is a keyword? Is a keyword. So keyword is my screen visible? Is my screen visible? Yes or no? Okay. So what do you mean by keyword? Because you must know what do you mean by keyword. Keyword is having specific meaning. Specific meaning in the language and recognized by the interpreter. So already yesterday I mentioned Python is one of the interpreted language, right? So it's going to be, so keyword is nothing but it is one of the simple concept, and it is very important to start with any programming language. So there are different keywords. So what do you mean by keyword? It is having specific meaning in the language and recognized by the interpreter. So other name for keyword is nothing but keyword also known as reserved word. Okay. The other name for keyword is reserved word. Okay. So there are 30 keywords are there in Python. There are 30 keywords are there in Python. What are they? Let's say, for example, we have a if is a keyword, else is a keyword, elif is a keyword, for is a keyword, break is a keyword, continue is a keyword. In is a keyword. Not is a keyword. Okay, and is a keyword. Or is a keyword. So like this, we have a 30 keywords. How can you know? As I mentioned, it's going to be identified by your interpreter, right? So if I type any keyword, then the interpreter is going to understand. It will give you some different color representation. For example, if I write if, okay. So it is going to be appeared in orange color, right? Yes or no? It's going to be appeared in orange color. For example, if I say I'll write only I. So if I write only I, it is giving me black color. So black color means it is not a keyword. It is not a keyword. Orange color means you are going to have some uh, so you are going to have the keyword, right? So we can easily identify whether it is a keyword or not, because when I wrote if, so if keyword is used for some purpose. So the purpose is mostly when I'm going to write some condition, I can use if. So whenever you are using the keyword if, the interpreter understands that you are trying to write some condition. So you must follow some syntax to use it. If you don't use the syntax, then it is going to give you error. For example, I can write if is equals to 8. This is invalid because if the purpose of if is different and you are doing some other. So when you are doing some other, okay, then it is going to give you error. Okay, understood? So basically, keyword is also known as reserved word. Okay, it is identified or it is going to be recognized by your Python interpreter. Every keyword is going to have some specific meaning. So the meaning is depending on the situation, we are going to use that particular keyword. Okay. If you want to see the keywords list, simply you can write the keyword keyword, import keyword, print keyword, keyword dot keyword list, KWLIST. So this is going to give you all the keywords. So as I mentioned, we have 30 keywords are there. These are the 30 keywords, right? So these are the 30 keywords. Okay, false is a keyword, none is a keyword, true is a keyword, and as, assert, async, await, break, class, continue, def, del, elif, okay, else. All these are different types of keywords. Is it clear, everyone? What do you mean by keyword? So now, as I mentioned, if is a one of the keyword. Just I'm trying to use if here. So if you want to use if, there is some specific purpose for every keyword. You're not supposed to deviate the purpose of using a keyword. So for example, in English letters, there is a purpose for every letter, right? You're not supposed to substitute in place of D, can I substitute S? It's not correct, right? It's going to change the entire meaning. Here also same thing. If you are going to use any keyword, the keyword is going to have some specific purpose, a specific meaning. So for that purpose only, you are supposed to use it. Is it clear to everyone? So this is the list of the keywords what we have in Python. As I mentioned, we are going to have a 30 keywords are there. So this is the list of the keywords. Please do respond yes or no. Are you following or not? Okay, why keywords are important? Because this is a basic thing you must be starts with. Any programming language which can starts with the keyword only. Of course, which keyword is going to be used for which purpose, we can understand in the coming days. But this is just you remember, this is the list of keywords. As I mentioned, we have 30 keywords in Python, right? So this is the list of keywords already I mentioned here. So now every keyword is used for a specific purpose. We are not supposed to use for other purpose. Okay, means as I mentioned, for example, if is there, if is having some purpose. Okay, the purpose is, let me write some example. Example, if keyword is used, if keyword is used to write the condition in Python. We are not supposed to use it. Use it for other purpose. If we do so, then Python interpreter will give error. Understood? Everyone once read this line so that you can understand what is the meaning of keyword. Every keyword, as I mentioned, it is having some specific purpose. So for that purpose only, we are supposed to use the keyword. If we are trying to use it for some other purpose, it is intended for some purpose, but you are trying to change it to other purpose, then it will give you error. That is what I showed you here. Okay, if is as I mentioned, for example, even I'll go with some other example. Okay, so false is equals to 8. So this is error. Why? Because false is mentioned. It is mentioned for some purpose. Okay, so some value you are trying to assign. So that is invalid. It is not at all accepted. That's why it is giving syntax error. So every keyword is meant for some specific purpose. Only the purpose you need to use them. Other task. If you want to achieve other task by using this keyword, it will give you error. Is it clear to everyone? Next is, what is an identifier? So once you got some, of course, don't worry about all these 30 keywords where we are going to use them. As I mentioned, when we are going to go in detail about each and every topic, in every topic we are going to use couple of keywords. Okay, so that you can understand maybe the coming days. Okay, so now I'll talk about what do you mean by identifier. Identifier. So identifier is nothing but basically identifier is the name we are giving to some variable or constant or function or a class in Python. So identifier means, for example, how can I identify you? So you have your identifier, right? Identifier means maybe you have some identification number, maybe PAN card, or maybe some social security number, or maybe your name. Your name also identifier only. But if I'm having similar names for two people, then I may not use name as identifier. Identifier in general, it should be unique. So if I have unique names, then I can use identifier. The name also I can use it as identifier. But that is the reason why mostly we will prefer to use the numerical values for identifiers, right? So identifier means the name what we are giving. For example, I can identify you by using your name. I can call you by using your name, or your parents will call you by using your name. Your friends will call you by using your name. That is nothing but your identifier. Okay. So here also in Python, for every concept, we are going to use different naming conventions. For example, if I write some program, I want to save the program. So to save the program, I need to give some name. That is nothing but identifier. Even if I want to use some data in my program, I can give some name. That is what identifier. Okay, identifier is the name. What name we are giving, because using that name only we'll try to access everything, right? Understood? Is it clear? Yes or no? Okay, so now we'll see the rules of the identifiers. What rules we must follow for identifiers. So rules of the identifiers. We need to follow certain rules in Python to create an identifier. So rule number one, first rule is identifier does not start with a number. This is what rule number one. Identifier does not start with a number. So what do you mean by this? Let me give an example so that you can understand. So for example, here I'm going to this shell is there now here. Here I'm going to write example. In ideally shell, I'll write the example. Okay. For example, I can write 1A is equals to 20 or 30. So this is invalid because what I'm trying to do, I'm creating an identifier. But what rule one says, you are not supposed to use number for creating identifier. I am trying to create an identifier with a number. So this is invalid. So that's why we are going to get error, right? So that is what rule number is going to explains. What is rule number one? Identifier does not start with a number. Here what I started with a number. Instead of this, I can go for A. A is equals to 30. It is valid. It is valid. We won't get any error, right? If I going to access A, then I'll get a value 30. Is it clear? What is the difference between these two? This one and this one? Did you understand what is the difference? 1A is equals to 30. When I use this, it is giving me error. But when I wrote A is equals to 30, it is not giving me any error because A is nothing but a valid identifier. But 1A is not a valid identifier because identifier does not start with a number. That is what rule number one. Is it clear? Do let me know if you have any queries, any doubts. I hope everyone is following. Identifier doesn't start with a number. Okay. If you start with any number, then you will get error. That is first rule. In general, if you say our names, do we have numbers in our names? No, right? In general. Okay. And even if you have number also, that number is not going to be the starting, right? The number is not going to be there at the beginning. So same rule is applicable for identifier as well. So for example, this is valid. If I write A1 is equals to 20, it is valid again. Okay. What is the difference between 1A and A1? So 1A is it is starting with number, but A1 is nothing but it is a number is not at the beginning, right? So this is a valid identifier. If you want to access, you can access. You will get the value. Is it clear? So first rule says identifier does not start with a number. Example, let's say A is an identifier, I can assign 20. It is a valid. B is an identifier, I can assign 30. It is a valid. C is an identifier, I can assign 40. It is a valid. Okay. So valid identifiers. But when I write 1A is equals to some 100, it is invalid. Okay, 2B is equals to some 200, it is invalid. Okay, invalid. I hope it is clear. Everyone, I hope you understand rule one, right? Only the number should not at the beginning. The number shouldn't be at the beginning. The number may be at any place, but it shouldn't start with a number. Identifier shouldn't start with a number. Maybe in some other place, yes, you may have. Okay, next, second rule, only underscore, only underscore is allowed in identifiers. Only underscore is allowed for in identifiers. No other special character is allowed. No other special character allowed. So no other special character means you are not supposed to use any other special character. Maybe dollar, maybe at the rate, okay, and maybe we can have a asterisk. All these are special characters which are not at all allowed. So let me give an example. Let's say, for example, dollar A is equals to 20. It is error, right? Even I can write at the rate B is equals to 30. It is a error. But I let underscore A is equals to 20. It is valid. It is valid. If you want, you can get the value 20. Or even A underscore is equals to some 40. It is also valid. Okay. A underscore B is equals to 300. It is also valid. So underscore you can write at any place. It may be at the beginning, it may be at the ending, it may be anywhere in between. Underscore is the only special character which is going to be accepted in the identifier. Okay. Apart from underscore, you are not supposed to use any other special character. It may be dollar, it may be ampersand, it may be okay, hyphen, it may be at the rate, it may be colon, semicolon, all these are not allowed. Is it clear? Yes or no? If you want, you can use some more examples, you can practice. Okay. Yeah. So now, rule number 3, examples we can say A underscore is equals to 100 is valid. Underscore AB is equals to 20 is valid. A underscore BC is equals to 30 is valid. Okay, all are valid. But A dollar is equals to 20 is invalid. At the rate B is equals to 20 is invalid. Okay, like this, these all are invalid. Okay, na? Is it clear to everyone? What is valid, what is invalid? We discussed about 2 rules for an identifiers. One rule is identifier shouldn't start with any number. Second rule is only one special character allowed, that is only underscore. Apart from underscore, none of the special characters are going to be allowed. Next, rule number 3. Rule number 3. Keywords cannot be used as an identifier. This is very important rule. Keywords cannot be used in identifier because the reason is keyword, already I mentioned keyword means it is having some specific meaning. So we are not supposed to use them as an identifier. We are not supposed to change the meaning, right? So example, let's say if is a keyword, I'm trying to use it for some identifier. It will give error. Else is a keyword, I'm going to use it as an identifier. It will give error. For is a keyword, I'm trying to use it as an identifier. It will give error. So none of the keywords you are supposed to use it for an identifier. That is what I mentioned when I discussed about keywords. Keyword is having some specific meaning. We are not supposed to change its meaning, or we are not supposed to use it for some other purpose. There is a specific purpose for every keyword. So we are not supposed to change its purpose. Here, what I am trying to do when I am trying to assign 22, if is a keyword, I am trying to use it as a identifier. It is not allowed. Here also, else is a keyword. I am trying to use it as an identifier. It is not allowed. For is a keyword. I am trying to use it as an identifier. It is not allowed. Is it clear? Rule number 3. Third rule, is it clear? Keywords can't be used as an identifier. Please do respond if you have any queries. Any queries? Okay. So example, as I mentioned, if is equals to 20, it is not allowed. Else is equals to some 30, it is not allowed. For is equals to some 40, it is not allowed because all these are keywords. Okay. So these all are invalid. Invalid. But you can write A is equals to 20, it is valid. B is equals to some 30, it is valid. Because why these are valid? Anyone tell me? Why these are valid? With respect to rule number 3, why these are valid? With respect to rule number 3, why these two examples, whatever I given, are valid? Any answers? Yes, very good. So because these are not keywords. Yes. Because these all are not keywords. A is not a keyword. B is not a keyword. Hence, they can be used an identifier. But if is a keyword, else is a keyword, hence they will not be used an identifier. Okay. Yeah. Next point is, next rule is rule number 4. Identifiers are case sensitive. So what do you mean by this rule? Identifiers are case sensitive. Case sensitive means, what do you mean by case sensitive? First of all, you must understand what do you mean by case sensitive. Of course, Python itself is a case sensitive language. Case sensitive means capital letter and small letter will be treated as different. Capital letter and small letter will be treated as different. Okay, so of course in Python, not only for identifiers, this rule is applicable to the entire Python language. You are not supposed to use any small letter for capital letter, and also you are not supposed to use any capital letter for small letter. For your information, if you see, only 3 keywords are in capital. So you can see, first in false, F is a capital, in none, N is a capital, in true, T is a capital. Only these 3 keywords are having capital letter. Okay, that is beginning character. And all other, you can see every keyword is, all the letters are small letters only. Did you observe it? In false, F is capital, in none, N is capital, in true, T is capital. And from this keyword to the last keyword, everything is all are small only. Only 3 keywords which are having capital letter. That is the starting letter as a capital letter. Okay. Now anyone tell me, if I write this keyword, so true is equals to 20. Is it valid or not? Is it valid or not? No. Why it is not valid? It is valid, right? True is not a keyword. Yes, true is not a keyword. True is a keyword, but there in capital T, right? It is valid. If you try to print true, you will get 20. True, which true is not valid? This true is not valid. This true is not valid, right? So because it is a keyword, there is a difference between this true and this true, right? So this is a case sensitivity. You must be very, okay. You must take care about this case sensitivity. You are not supposed to replace small letter with capital and vice versa. Is it clear? Even I can write false. Is it valid or not? It is valid. It is valid, but it is not valid, right? When I use So it is invalid. I hope everyone is following, right? All the rules. These rules are very important. If you go for any interview, they will ask you what are all the rules of the identifiers in Python. And you need to explain with examples. Why particular rule is not valid, why this is valid. You need to give a proper explanation for different examples. And what do you mean by the rule? Any questions? So far, any questions? No questions? Okay. Next, I'll proceed to the next rule. So far, we've seen 4 rules for identifiers. The identifiers are case sensitive. So example, let me take A is equals to 20. And if I'm trying to print A, then it will give error. Okay, same example if you want, you can see. When I take A value 20, when I'm trying to use capital A is equals to 20, yes. When I use small a, I'll get value. The 20 is assigned, I'll get 20, right? But when I'm trying to use capital A, then I'll get error. What might be the reason for this error? What might be the reason? Anyone tell me what is the reason for this error? Yes. So I'm using small a here, but I'm trying to call it with a capital A. Okay, but that is not allowed in Python. So it's a case sensitive language. It's strictly case sensitive. So you're not supposed to use some other name for a particular name. So your name is small a, but I'm trying to call capital A. It is not allowed, right? Understood? Any more doubts so far? Okay, next rule is already that rule also we discussed. That is identifier may start with underscore or alphabet. Okay, so this is the next rule. Identifier may starts with any underscore or alphabet. Let's say, for example, underscore A is equals to 10, valid. A underscore B is equals to 20, valid. Underscore B is equals to 30, valid. So it may starts with either underscore or alphabet. That's it. We are not supposed to use any number. We are not supposed to start any identifier with other special character. Only the allowed special character is it may be underscore or it may be normal alphabet. That's it. We are not supposed to use it with some other purpose. Understood? Is it clear? Yes or no? Okay, you can write underscore A is equals to 100, it is valid. A underscore is equals to 200, it is valid. AB is equals to 300, it is valid. AB underscore is equals to some 400, it is valid. Okay. So you can start with underscore or you can start with alphabet. That's it. Any doubts in these 5 points? Any doubts in these 5 points? 5 identifiers, rules, 5 rules. Any doubts? Anybody having any doubts, do let me know. In today's session, just I discussed about what is a keyword and what are all the different keywords are there in Python. As I mentioned, there are 30 keywords are there. And what is an identifier? What are all the rules of the identifiers? So there are different rules because in every project, we are going to use many identifiers. So if you don't know the rules of the identifiers, if you are going to take some identifier in your own way, then it's going to give you error. Every program, every project is going to consist of many identifiers. It's a collection of many identifiers. So you must know what are all the do's and don'ts while creating an identifier. Then only you won't get any type of error. If you don't know how to create an identifier, again, you will get different errors, right? Any doubts so far? Any doubts? Okay, no doubts. So whatever I wrote here, this is a simple practice. But now I'll try to write a small program, simple program. How to write a program in Python ideally? So far I didn't write any program. Just I'm going to write a small program. Just go to file, new file. Okay. Here I'm going to write some program. So print, this is first Python program. Okay. And also print Python is easy. Okay. So just what I wrote here, I used print. Print is one of the built-in function in Python. And in the parenthesis, I wrote some text in the single code and I closed the parenthesis. Next, I wrote print. Again, I wrote something in single code within print, right? So this is the program. You can see where you will see untitled because I didn't given any name for this program. This is untitled. I'll go to file. I'll go to file. I'll click on save as. I'll click on save as. Now I am going to save this program. Okay. Now I am going to save this program. Where you want to save, you can save. Okay. For example, I want to save in this location. You can give some name. Let's say I want to give a first program. You can give some name. I'm giving first program. Okay. So far it is untitled because I didn't give any title. When I give the name and I click on save, now you can see it is changed to first program .py. .py. .py is the extension for a Python program. Like how we are having .doc, .jpg, .pdf, okay, .mp3. These are all the different file extensions, right? Similarly, for Python file, we have a .py is an extension. Is it clear so far what I did? Just I opened a new file, I wrote some statements in the program and I saved it in a particular location by giving some name. Understood? Is it clear so far? Any doubt so far? Of course, this is a very simple program. Now, what I'll do is I'll go to run, click on run module. So this is the output of this program. Okay. I'll keep these two side by side. You can see this is the program what we wrote left side, and this is the output what we get. Okay. Is it clear? This is the output what we got. This is the program what we wrote. This is the program what we wrote. Okay. This is the program what I wrote, and this is the output what we get. Is it clear? What it is doing? Simply it is displaying on the screen. Whatever I wrote, the same thing is going to be displayed on the screen. That is what a print is doing. Print function is doing. Any doubts? Is it clear to everyone? Any doubts? Any doubts? This is the first program what we write in this session. And whatever the examples so far I explained, all these examples are we are practicing on shell. This is not the program. This is only examples we are practicing. What difference you are asking? How do you get the out using a notepad? No, we are not going to get output in notepad. We'll get output on shell. You can see where we get the output in shell, right? So this is the output, right? We always will get the output only on IDLE shell. Is it clear? We are writing program in a new window, like here. Here we are writing the program. This is the program what I wrote. This is the program I wrote, and I given us name as post underscore program. Okay, there are two statements I wrote in the program. When I run this program, let me run once again. Let me run this program. When I run this program, this is the output what I get. Okay, so this is the program what we wrote, and this is the output what we get. Where we are seeing the output, we are seeing the output on IDLE shell. Okay, always the output will be displayed on the IDLE shell. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear? Yes or no? Yeah, that is a different story. How do we get the output using Notepad? So that is a different story. The writing program manually, that is not required actually. We can do this program in many ways, but as I mentioned, we can use different softwares. In yesterday's class, I mentioned different softwares, right? We can use Python ideally. We can use Jupyter Notebook. Even we can use Google Colab. We can use Spider. We can use PyCharm. But basically, as a beginner, we need to use, there is no line terminator in Python. There is no semicolon. There is no line terminator. By default, every line is, okay, is going to be ended with the simple. If you complete this line, you go to the enter. Just you press enter. Enter is nothing but your line terminator. There is no semicolon, no special characters to end your line. In general, in other languages, we can use \n or some other, right? Any doubts? Any doubts? Okay, let me write one more simple program to get some understanding. I'll go to new file. Just I'm doing some simple program. A is equals to 10, B is equals to 20. Print sum is print A plus B. Next print difference is print A minus B. Just I'm doing some sample program to add and to subtract the two numbers. I'll go to file, click on save as, and I want to save this program as a second program. So just I'll give some name as second program. You can give any name, doesn't matter, any name you can give. So now that my program is saved with second program, here you can see the location also. C drive, February 25 Logitech, ML with Python, and second program.py. This is the location where my program is saved. And I'll go to run, click on run module. You can see this is the output of this program. This is the program what we wrote, and this is the program what we got the output. This is the program I wrote, right? So sum is 30 and difference is minus 10. So 10 plus 20 is 30, 10 minus 20 is minus 10. That is the output we got. Is it clear to everyone? Okay, it's a very simple program. Just I took some numbers, 10 and 20. Variable is A is a variable, B is a variable. Already I mentioned what is a variable identifier. Or we can say A is an identifier, B is an identifier. A is having some value 10 and B is having some value 20. So print is nothing but whatever you wrote in print that will be displayed on the screen. I wrote sum is, so hence sum is displayed. Print A plus B, A is 10, B is 20, 10 plus 20, 30 will be displayed. Next difference is A minus B, that is 10 minus 20 is going to be displayed on the screen. That is 10 minus 20 is minus 10. Understood? Any doubts? Any doubts in this program? Any doubts? Any doubts? Do let me know if you have any doubts, any queries, anything. Okay, again, I'm telling you, this is the last live demo session. If you are registered, then only you'll get the link from tomorrow. So this is the last live class. The people who are not decided to join. If you are registered, then the classes will be continued from tomorrow for you people. If you are not registered, then this is the last live session. Okay, that's why I'm asking any questions. If any other questions are there, any people are joined only today, or if you have any other questions also, I can answer. I can give unmute option so that you can talk. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand so that you can talk, so that I'll resolve your queries if there are any. Okay. Already I mentioned for every concept, we are going to have a concept by example. We'll go with implementation for every concept. No questions? Okay. So if you don't have any questions, I'll stop here. So if you want to continue, you can register. Okay. Thank you.